Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. Today on the show, we've got Pharrell making some big moves, Tiger Woods forgetting he has retros dropping, the week's hottest releases, and of course, our Hard Pass. All right, let's start with some hot takes. Kool Kai is fighting back against Nike as he has filed a countersuit against the brand alleging that his sneaker, shown here, is different from the Air Jordan 1, shown here, and that it operates in a different space. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave this side-by-side picture here for a few seconds. Okay then. More specifically, Kai is stating that the lightning bolt is different from the swoosh and that they sell shoes through a different channel and at different price points than Nike. Hey, look, at the end of the day, the courts are gonna decide what they decide. But when it comes to the court of public opinion, it's gonna be tough for Kai to win over people who aren't already buying what he's selling. Somebody left their off-white Nike Air Force One MCAs at the gym. Well, I guess you get what you pay for, I guess. Congratulations to the WWE for a historic accomplishment. No, I don't mean what looks like their biggest WrestleMania yet based on ticket sales or anything that has to do with the bloodline. No, I'm talking about jumping on a trend before it got stale. I'm talking, of course, about Seth freaking Rollins wearing the Mischief Big Red Boots last Monday before people had turned on them. In the Vince era, those shoes would have showed up on Seth's feet 6 to 7 months from now. Normally, that type of topical humor is limited to the New Day, but this is how you know it is a new day in the WWE. Got it? You get it? New day? Never mind. Anyway, somebody called 2015, Supreme flew a branded chopper over LA to promote their new West Hollywood store. Wait, so the government can take down spy balloons and UFOs allegedly, but they can't ban brands past their hype expiration date from polluting our skies and our eyes? At least let it be Mischief or Solomon or something actually cool at the moment. Ja Morant's debut signature shoe reveals its shiniest iteration yet, and we haven't even gotten our hands on the launch colorway. Not only that, it manages to one-up the Tiffany's Air Force Ones at the same time with the black colorway featuring a swoosh decked out in Swarovski crystals. And Ja didn't even need a nearly $500 shoehorn accessory to sell me on these. Yeah, the Tiffany's are gonna catch strays for a long time, man. At least until they drop another colorway that flips the narrative or gets Nicky Diamonds on board. Loewe has a grass sneaker for $1,700. Hopefully they didn't use the same material that was on the field of the Super Bowl, or else kids will be sliding around in these. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our Super Bowl reference of the week. The Nike Kobe 4 Pro Trail returns on May 1st in honor of the late Gigi Bryant on what would have been her 17th birthday. Look, maybe we can cut Nike some slack with the Kobe 6 Mamba Cedar released last year because of the timing of the new deal with the Bryant estate, but this Kobe 4 has to be a GR with millions of pairs ready to go. There's been enough time, guys, and you know Kobe and Gigi fans are more than willing to pay the $180 price tag. Do the right thing. So, news broke this week that Pharrell Williams is the new menswear creative director at Louis Vuitton, replacing the late Virgil Abloh. Congratulations, Skateboard P. After months of speculation and numerous names ranging from people I've kind of heard of and others that I read about for the first time, the luxury brand went with the biggest name available who also isn't wildly toxic. I mean, there aren't a lot of people who have a higher approval rating than Skateboard P. And while I don't always get his fashion sense, like remember that big hat he wore during his happy phase? He always has an eye for what's popping right now and what the next big thing will be. I mean, the guy convinced Drake to pay unknown gobs of money for his old chains and solid gold PSP, so he knows a thing or two about selling the hype beast. Speaking of hype beast, small h, hype beast, big H, has shared their thoughts on the move. As you might expect, there are critics of Pharrell's promotion to the coveted spot, citing a younger, hungrier, and more diverse set of creatives who could have occupied the position. Hypebeast's take on the issue is that while it's a valid critique, getting Pharrell means they not only tap into his taste in fashion, but also his ability to cross cultures in an authentic way and bring a perspective that someone who has only seen as a designer would not be able to bring. Personally, I can see why the idea of bringing in a celebrity whose primary expertise isn't in design might be annoying, but I'm guessing Louis Vuitton couldn't give two shits about that. They want a transcendent headliner, and they got it. Oh, and now that Adidas has crossed off Prada and Gucci off their high fashion wish list, it's only a matter of time before we get the Adidas Forum or Crazy 8 or any number of human race NMDs with the Louis Vuitton monogram print. So, before we hop into the heat check, we've been seeing a lot of chatter about replica sneakers on the socials. So, we reached out to the homie Kari to get more details in a new segment we like to call Twitter Files.
What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Kari, and this is Twitter Files, the part of Hard Pass. We take it to the streets of Twitter to see what you guys in the community are thinking about the trending topics. Today's topic is a hot one. We're talking about rep talk, or replicas on TikTok. Soul Retriever recently put out an article that dove deeply into the world of replica sneakers and them being promoted on TikTok, and with some influencers now being paid up to $10,000 a month to promote these replica sneakers. Needless to say, that's got the community in a bit of an uproar in the ongoing debate between replica and real, which is better. As sneakers tend to get harder and harder to get, the allure of replicas seems to be stronger and stronger, and it's gotten to the point where now replica sneakers are being widely accepted as normal as long as you're actually disclosing that you're wearing a replica. The same goes for the selling and promoting of replica sneakers as well. It seems like as long as you're telling people what it is that you have, it's not really as much of a big deal as it used to be back in the day. For some people. Now for other people, it's still a problem. But here's what you guys had to say about the growing popularity of replica sneakers on TikTok. Hucked, I hope I got that name right, XVX says it's understandable when resellers are ruining the game and buying out all pairs. Reps are like $30 one-for-one dunks. That's actually a fair point. It seems like as quality has gotten better, the acceptance of replica sneakers has gotten better as well. H_visibility says TikTok is the only place that's trying to normalize fakes. I don't know, because right on Twitter you have people like Nick G972 proudly boasting their replicas, saying, y'all have fun paying your retail and resale. I got all three of these today for $190. Well, that's quite a pickup, Nick. I'm not mad at it. All in all, I don't think we'll ever really get to a point in time where replicas are either completely demonized or totally accepted. I think we're always gonna have this tug of war between what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But if you want my personal opinion, I think that we should just let bygones be bygones. And again, as long as you're not being deceptive, either in trying to make it seem like you're wearing a real pair of sneakers and you're not, or in selling a pair of sneakers that are replica and trying to pretend that they're real, as long as you're not being deceptive in that way, I don't really see what the issue is. And I guess that's kind of my issue here, is that I tend to see people who will wear replica sneakers kind of looking down at the people who don't want to wear replica sneakers and who are actually okay with paying the price for a real pair of shoes. So if I choose to pay whatever the price is for my special box orange lobster dunks, then so be it. It's okay if you want a replica version, and it's okay if I want my non-replica version. As the old saying goes, what you eat don't make me. But I am interested to see what lies ahead, because what I'm hearing around Twitter is that people already have to not use the word DHgate and have to call it the fence, because TikTok is already cracking down on the promotion of counterfeit sneakers. So, buyer beware. Back to you, Jacques.
Thanks, Kari. What did you guys think? Let us know down in the comments. All right, it's time for the heat check, where we bring you everything that's dropping this week. We have the Jordan Luka 1 Safari on the 20th for 110, the New Balance Fresh Foam BB All-Star for 130, the Jordan Zion 2 SP Naruto and Sasuke on the 20th for 120, the Nike SB Low Adobe on the 22nd for 110, the New Balance 550 Burnt Orange on the 23rd for 110, the Pharrell Adidas Shoe NMD S1 Riot on the 24th for 250, the Nike SB Dunk Low Wolf Gray on the 24th for 110, the Nike Air Max 1 Crepe on the 24th for 160, the Air Jordan 6 Cool Gray on the 25th for 200. Then for the pick of the week is the Air Jordan 6 Low Golf Infrared 23 on the 21st for 230. The 2015 Retro gets a golf update, and with tooling that ditches the free inspired ones that were found in previous Jordan Golf 6s, it now becomes another example of, hey, if you want to wear these off the course, just take off the spikes. Oh, and we have to give an honorable mention to the Mason Margiela Salomon Cross Low that Rihanna wore during her Super Bowl performance. Wait, that's two Super Bowl references. Not surprisingly, the shoes are a little hard to find, but not totally off the grid yet. But rocking these sneakers will no doubt bring some new energy to the brand that, at least for me right now, mostly exists on Fairfax and Melrose and on the Complex Sneakers Instagram page. Told you guys we'd cover them in 2023. All right, and now for a heat check on the return of the Nike TW13. Hell yeah, it's back, baby! The Nike TW13 released this past week in a bit of a surprise. I mean, we didn't even have it on last week's Hard Pass, or else it would have been the pick of the, well, actually, it probably wasn't going to overtake the Mischief Red Boots for sheer absurdity, so it would have been co-pick of the week for sure. Anyway, the retro of a golf shoe is a cause for celebration because, well, it doesn't happen often. I mean, well, yes, FootJoy and other traditional golf shoemakers like to dig into their archives and bring back old favorites, but their reach is limited to people who are already invested in the game of golf. With the Nike TW13, Nike Golf was aiming for a broader audience, namely the sneakerheads and the casual fans who were Golf Curious. The timing for the Golf Curious couldn't be better, as Netflix just dropped the first season of Full Swing, their attempt to do for golf what Drive to Survive did for F1 racing. Co-writer has only seen the first 2 episodes, but he's loving it so far and finds the use of Tiger in the show without actually being one of the featured stars. It's pretty hilarious. But Netflix knows viewers want to see Tiger, so they'll get him, kinda, and what he still means for the sport, if you know what I mean. See, for all the talk that Tiger Woods changed the game and how he played it and looked, the one thing you couldn't credit him for was revolutionizing footwear. No offense to fans of the Nike Air Zoom TW or the SP7 TW Tour or the Air Zoom TW12, although that last one had some early Hyperdunk vibes to it, but they did not have the wow factor that you would associate with someone like Tiger. The Nike TW13, it was a wow for us. As somebody who was already talking about golf shoes and how it needed to be more modern even all the way back in 2013, the reveal of the TW13 was a huge moment. Sure, it's not like a new Air Jordan or a Nike LeBron in terms of audacious design at first glance, but for Tiger, the TW13 was a step out of the comfort zone. It had a free-inspired midsole and a stretchable synthetic leather upper that made them more flexible than your standard stuffy golf shoes. It looked like a trainer more than a golf shoe, and that was kind of the point. It was different, and different was good. Unfortunately, that infatuation with different did not last all that long. The Nike TW14 was the Charmeleon to the Nike TW13's Charmander, while the Nike TW15 was the motherfucking Charizard with the flyweave upper that was straight out of the Air Jordan 29 playbook. But by the time we got to the TW16, 17, and 18, it was a regression to something more traditional. And not only that, Tiger isn't even wearing Nike golf shoes at the moment. As of this recording, Woods is prepping for the Genesis Invitational at the Riviera Country Club in LA, wearing the FootJoy Premier Packard. This isn't a new development, mind you. This has been going on since last year, and Nike's statement was something to the effect of, "We support Tiger and yeah, we're working on it." Well, it's been almost a year now, and Tiger is still wearing the FootJoys. What's the deal? Is Tiger so bulletproof that he can get away with doing this, or is Nike so confident that no one will care that he's wearing FootJoys because he's still rocking head to leg swoosh? I mean, since Nike Golf's equipment division folded, Tiger has been using TaylorMade clubs and Bridgestone golf balls. Nike doesn't seem to have issues with sharing Tiger, I guess. Shoes are a part of that, maybe? By the way, not that Tiger would ever let it go since he's won 14 of his 15 majors with it, but is there a cooler piece of golf history than his Scotty Cameron Newport 2 putter? Like, that thing is more valuable and more historic than everybody on the LIV exhibition tour. But why the FootJoys? Well, for starters, FootJoys are the OGs of the golf shoe game. Tiger wore FootJoys in his amateur days, and the Premier Packard is a premium old school with a full grain leather upper that is resistant to stretching. When co-writer interviewed Tiger about the TW15, don't think I don't notice you flexing here, co-writer. Anyway, Wood said his biggest complaint about the prototypes were that the flyweave upper was too loose and that he was rolling his ankle. So Tiger wants a golf shoe that's a little more stable and rigid, which makes sense considering all of the injuries he's piled up through the years. The stretchable upper on the TW13 might not work for him anymore. And as cool as a moment as it would be to see him rock a pair at Riviera, you know what Nike product might work for Tiger? That's right, Jordan Retros. I'm not going to sit here and tell you every Jordan Retro that's gotten the golf treatment has been perfect from a quality standpoint, but I'm going to go ahead and say they are better than most of the pairs you see on the shelves of Foot Locker or Shoe Palace right now. If there was ever a time for Tiger to wear, say, a black and red Air Jordan 1 Golf in a high or low, now would be nice. All right, it's time for this week's Hard Pass. We'll take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like camping out for sneakers. Look, on the latest episode of the Complex Sneakers podcast, the crew welcomed Matt Michael, owner of Sneaker Boutique Corporate and co-founder of Bigger Than Sneakers, a nonprofit that spotlights sneaker culture through workshops, events, and mentorship. The show covered a wide variety of topics for anybody who wants to go more in depth and take a look at the business side of the sneaker world, but it also focused on Michael's commitment to presenting the culture as more than just a bunch of kids who like to flex and resell. A topic that got people talking was Michael's desire to return to the sneaker campout.
Now we're trying to go back to first come, first serve with everything because I've told my team, like, I'm tired of raffles. I'm tired of people complaining about them. So, hey, they want to, be here first, then cool.
So camping.
Camping is
Do you
back.
feel like that's the best way to release sneakers right now?
I mean, He's not wrong to want that. I think most of us would want to return to the good old days when people could just line up with their fellow sneakerheads and talk shop all night until the store opens and they can grab the pair that they want. I personally didn't line up and camp out for sneakers even when I wasn't doing all of this for a living, but that's because I had a real 9 to 5 during the good old days. I have a lot of friends who did camp here in LA for all sorts and releases, and while they had good experiences, they also had some that weren't so great. Now, maybe a store like Corporate can get away with something like that in the Midwest because, in his words, the clientele watch over themselves. And even here in Los Angeles, a vast majority of people who line up to buy sneakers, whether it's camping out or just getting in line minutes before a store opens, will encounter zero problems. But there's also a non-zero chance that something could happen. And that's why, even if I didn't have a 9 to 5 back in the good old days, I wasn't willing to camp out for anything. The world has changed. I can't say that camping out is less safe in 2023 than it was in 2003 because bad stuff happened during that time too. But we definitely see every instance of it now thanks to social media and the 24/7 news cycle that wants to demonize sneaker culture every chance they get. And I'll be honest, if there's a sneaker that I really want to buy, I'd rather test my luck alongside every other sneakerhead and reseller bought online instead of bundling up in multiple layers of clothing and braving the freezing cold weather here in LA where something unsavory could happen. And what? It gets down to the 40s sometimes here, people. I think Tom Michael's heart and desire is in the right place with going back to a first come, first serve system. But all it takes is one bad and unfortunate incident to paint us all in a bad light. So if he and other retailers want to take this path, they have to play that game. Beef up security, implement a system that mitigates sellers who pay off kids and, sadly, homeless people from taking up all the spots, and be honest with customers by disclosing how many pairs are actually in stock. Now, that last part sounds like a business no-no, and I get it. A few months ago, Co-Writer told his story on the show of searching for the Nike Air Penny 1 home last summer in LA and came upon a store that had 20 to 30 people in line before opening. When he came back later in the day and asked what the line was for, the people working the register said nothing. They just lined up thinking there was something dropping when there really wasn't. They still let them line up and come inside, hoping that they would buy a consolation prize. If I was running that store, I would have told those kids we didn't have anything dropping and that it wasn't worth their time lining up for nothing. Now, if I did have a hype pair to sell and there were 200 people willing to camp out, I would be honest with them and tell them exactly how many I had in store. And see, this is why I don't run a store. Anyways, I hope Tom Michael is able to go back to the good old days without incident. My focus would be more on making the online experience more of an even playing field or doing surprise drops that don't follow sneaker release dates, but that's just me. Or maybe pre-orders. Who knows? There's something to be said about hanging out with like-minded people and developing friendships and camaraderie in the middle of the night when it's 40 degrees or less and experiencing the joy of being one of the first to own a new pair of sneakers. I guess I'll never know what it's like because I prefer my bed, my blanket, and my air conditioning. Oh, and before we go, a quick hard pass to Co-Writer, that two-timer. Don't think I don't know what you did, man. How dare you take a job with Shaq and not tell me? I'm hurt, man. I'm hurt. First the Fat Boys breakup, now this. There's nothing to believe in anymore. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I'm Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week. If you'd like to possibly be featured in a future episode, call us at 818-493-9325. Leave a short message, your socials if you want. No more than 30 seconds. All right, I'll see you next week. Peace.